What's good, YouTube? This is Nate from the Scrub Academy here, welcoming you back to our next deck profile on the channel. Now today we are profiling one of my favorite decks of all time, especially since I got back into the game after I took about an 8-month hiatus when I moved to Florida. When I moved back, I wanted to find a deck that was cheap to play because I didn't know what the meta was doing, I wasn't sure what the ban lists were going to be doing, and I wasn't sure what kind of cards were coming out because I literally just stopped thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time. I didn't even look at cards coming out, didn't buy any sets, didn't plan on doing anything. And then I came back, I wanted to find a deck that was cheap. This was the deck. Now I played this for a while, and then once everybody started using Brilliant Fusion, I got the idea as well. So I put Brilliant Fusion in it because it kind of speeds the deck up a little bit. So I played a little bit differently than some people, so we're going to jump right into the deck. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, leave those in the comment section, whether you want to know why I play certain cards and why I don't, and I will definitely get to you as soon as possible. So we're going to go ahead and start off the profile for you guys. We play 3 of the main card of the deck. 3 Fluffal Dog. Now Fluffal Dog is the searcher of the deck, allows you to search out any of your Fluffal monsters as well as Edgem Sabers. Definitely I'll play this at 3. If you're not playing at 3, I'm not sure what you're doing. This is the one card in your deck you want to normal summon. Besides this, there's no really other cards besides maybe Owl that you want to normal summon. So this is definitely something you want to keep. So don't waste your normal summon on anything else. Try and make sure that you have one of these in your hand. You gotta play 3 so you can open up with it. Moving on, we are playing 3 Fluffal Bear. Now, Fluffal Bear I probably wouldn't have ever played at 3 if Fluffal Wings had never come out. But because Fluffal Wings is out and because Wings is so good, gotta play 3 of this to get your toy vendor out as soon as possible. So you always want to make sure you kind of open up one of these and Wings, or open up a Dog and Bear, or open up a Dog and Wings. So one of those 2 combinations right there, just so you can have your Wings toy vendor play going off. Because that just allows you to accumulate so much hand advantage right away that you're able to put a lot of damage on board turn 1. And you can just go from there and OTK your opponent, because that's what this deck wants to do. You want to OTK your opponent as soon as possible. Definitely not a grinding deck. Along with your 3 Bear, we're playing our 3 Wings. Hopefully you can do all of your toy vendor Wings plays quickly. The thing is, you can only do 1 per turn, but you want to be able to see Wings and Bear as soon as possible, so you gotta play 3. As well as you play Brilliant Fusion in the deck with Sephiroth, and the only light in the deck is Wings. So that allows you to dump Wings into the graveyard as soon as possible. Next up, we are playing the last 2 Fluffals, Owl and Sheep. Owl's really good, allows you to add polymerization, or it can be polymerization itself, and Sheep allows you to special summon it and bring back an Edgem from the grave, and then bring a monster back. So if you want to keep your Dog around in your hand and use it later, you can normal summon Dog, add Sheep, special Sheep, bring back Edgem Sabers or Chain, and then bring back Dog to your hand so you can use it the next turn. Used to play Mouse in the deck. I really loved Mouse, but because this is more of a get there as quick as possible variant to try and OTK turn 1, you didn't want to waste your normal summon on a Mouse when you need a Dog to search out. So like I said before, Dog is literally the only one you really want to normal summon. Just like in most of my decks, they're combo oriented or OTK oriented. You want to make sure you can only have that one card that you want to be able to normal summon. That way it doesn't like clog in your hand or ruin anything along the way. Next up, we are playing 3 King of the Swamp. It's an amazing card. Allows you to substitute for any of your fusion materials as long as the other one is correct. And you can also ditch it to the grave so you can add polymerization to your hand from the deck. So just a great way to deck thin. Allows you to add things to your hand as quickly as possible. This deck is a lot of searching, a lot of adding, a lot of drawing. That way you can get to the cards you need as soon as possible turn 1 so you can get your OTK off and not have to worry about trying to grind out later on. Then we are playing 2 Edgem Sabers. A lot of people play one of this saying that you only really need 1. But I think they're insane because being able to have 1 in hand, be able to use 1 in grave works out really well. You really don't want this to get banished, but you can with Frightfur Fusion to go off. I would much rather banish one of these in grave, but if you have to banish an Edgem Sabers, you really want to have at least 1 more in the deck. That way you can kind of go off or have 1 in hand or whatever you may want, because if you have an Edgem Sabers in hand and you summon Dog, you don't have to worry about even trying to search for the Sabers because you already have 1 in hand. So just works out really well. And then we're playing 3 Edgem Chain. Edgem Chain is really good because it allows you to add any Frightfur spell or trap to your hand. So Frightfur Fusion, Frightfur Factory. Works really well. Also has a big butt so you can set it if you really need to. The main thing I play it for is allowing me to add either Frightfur Factory or Frightfur Fusion, as well as it's a level 4. So if I need to, I can instant fusion from Norden and then bring this back to go into a rank 4. Moving on, we are playing the Brilliant Fusion parts of the deck. We are playing 2 Gem Knight Ceradonics. I play Ceradonics over Gem Knight Garnet because I didn't have Garnets, didn't want to be mainstream. I feel like this is easier to play anyway for me because it's cheaper not to spend any money on Garnets. Didn't want to have to go out and get them when I already had these, so why try and spend money on something you don't need? As well as all the monsters besides edge imps in the deck and wings is Earth, so hey, this is Earth too, it works out, why not? And then finally the last 2 monsters in the main deck that we were playing are 2 Maxi. Now I played 2 Maxi in the main instead of siding it because I always want to go second this deck. A lot of decks want to go first nowadays to try and build that board, so I always basically know I'm going to go second because a lot of decks when they win that dice roll, going to go first. Okay, well I would rather go second. Great, I have this Maxi in my hand, you try and go off, I'm going to plus from it, or I'm going to stop you from doing what you're going to do anyway. So it works out really well. If you want to go off and try and build your board, great. Give me 2, 3, 4 draws in my hand extra. That way I just can dig even deeper into the deck and destroy your face. Moving on to the spells, we are playing the Brilliant spells. We're playing 3 Brilliant Fusion. I only really plan on ever using one of these once. I think I've used it twice, once in a match. That was with Fusion Substitute. The other 2 are pretty much just, they're dead after you use it, but you play 3, that way you're more likely to see it in your opening hand, so you can get wings into grave as soon as possible. As well as once they're in grave, you can go ahead and use them with Frightfur Factory. And then we're playing 2 of the regular polymerization. That way you can always search it with your King of the Swamp or your Owl. As well as you can, if you need to, you can tribute a bear on the field to add 1 back to your hand. I don't really ever use this effect, but I mean, if it happens, it happens. Then we're playing 2 Instant Fusion. I only play 2 instead of 3, I feel like it's cloggy at 3. I only plan on using this for Norden, as well as a Frightfur Sheep if I really need to. If I want to go Safari Knight and then Frightfur Sheep, and then go ahead and make, you know, a rank 5 or whatever, but I don't really see myself doing that all too often. And then the last 2 that we were playing of the regular fusions, kind of, sort of, is Dark Fusion and Fusion Substitute. Dark Fusion is one of my favorite fusion cards. I'll probably play more of these if I could, if I had room for it. I know I was playing 2 before, but I cut 1 out for Fusion Substitute. Works really well if they kind of stop your play, and you can just banish Fusion Substitute, send your fusion back to the extra deck, and then draw a card. So say they hit your Tiger, or they hit your Sabertooth, or whatever they hit, you can go ahead and banish the Fusion Substitute, send it back to the extra deck so you can use it again, and you get a draw card from it. So I really don't see any negative from that, besides the fact that when you use this card, you have to have materials on the field. So if you can just get this in the grave without having to worry about using it, great, because the materials have to be on field when you want to actually use it. And then we were playing 2 Frightfur Fusion and 1 Frightfur Factory. I used to play all 3 Frightfur Fusions, but Frightfur Factory is amazing just because you don't really need anything else. Frightfur Factory says you can banish a card in the graveyard that says Fusion or Polymerization in the name. Well, guess what? We have all of these that we can use. So they're going to want to get rid of this as soon as possible. And the best part is when this goes to the grave, it gets sent to the grave like they destroy it, you can add a Frightfur Fusion back to hand. So if you can banish one of these for this to use it, and then they want to hit this so you can't use any of the other fusions you have in the graveyard, you get to add 1 back and you can use it anyway. So I think that's pretty great. Whenever I'm searching with Chan, I search this first, that way when I do my wings play, I'll most likely draw into a Frightfur Factory. And then finally we have to play 3 of this card. We're playing 3 Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor is an amazing card. You can always bluff it if you need to, set it, and hopefully they Twin Twist or MST it. Big thing I love doing is sending wings to the grave and then activating bear, sending bear to the grave to set Toy Vendor, activating Toy Vendor, sending Toy Vendor to the grave, because the effect of Toy Vendor getting sent to grave to add a card is not once per turn, it's only sending a card. So when it gets sent to grave, you can do that multiple times. So you get a search from that, and then you can do wings play, banish it and bear, draw a card, send Toy Vendor, draw a card, then Toy Vendor go off again. So you just got 2 searches and 2 draws. So you're just able to dig into the deck and then keep going until you're able to build off that OTK and just make your opponent cry because they just lost a nice little fluffy deck. Then the final 2 spells we play in the main deck are 2 Twin Twister. Twin Twister is an amazing card. Definitely better than MST in this format just because a lot of people are setting those warnings, setting those scoldings, setting the strikes. And especially with Domain out right now with Monarchs, if they're playing the Domain variant, you can hit that so you can actually go off because with that on the field, you can't do anything. But if they set cards, you want to OTK, so you can't really have them stopping your plays. But if you have this in your hand, you can easily discard a Toy Vendor or something along those lines, and then go off from there, hit their back rows, and then get rid of all their defense, and then proceed to go off and poop on their face. But that is the main deck. I'm not playing any traps. I do side a few traps, but I'm not playing any in the main, just because I feel like with a combo variant like this, you really don't want to see traps, it'll just slow you down. Moving on to the extra deck, we are playing 1 Sabertooth and 2 Tiger. 2 Tiger, I just really like. Probably could play 3 if you really want to. I really don't see the need. If I had a second Sabertooth, I probably would play it, but I only have 1. that's fine for now. If I ever come back to this deck, after I put it away for a while, if I can get another one, I might actually play 2 instead of just 1. Next we play 3 Frightfur sheep. Now we play 3 sheep just because you're always going to use one with your chain to try and get chain to the grave as soon as possible, so you can add your Frightfur factory so you can keep going off. Best thing about that is you can activate send chain to grave, grab Frightfur factory, and then activate Frightfur factory, banishing whatever you just used, say a polymerization, and then you can fuse your sheep with another Frightfur or Fluffal in your hand, or sabers or whatever you really need, and then bring out Frightfur Sabertooth, and then bring back your Frightfur sheep, and then it has a plus 400, so he's at 24 already. Then once he destroys himself, he becomes 3200. So it just works out really well, as well as you can use your instant fusion with this. But if you're going to do that, you always want to, just a side note there, if you activate instant fusion and bring this out, make sure you attack with it so it gets destroyed, because once it comes back, instant fusion's effect to destroy it in the end phase no longer has that effect on it, so it will still come back the next turn. Then finally, for our last 2 Frightfurs, we are playing 2 Frightfur Wolf. Definitely one of the best cards in the deck. I love doing this with Frightfur Fusion because you can use Polymerization, Dark Fusion, anything you really want. Bring out Tiger, pop all their stuff, and then Frightfur Fusion banish a bunch of your stuff you don't really care about anymore, and bring this out in this OTKs because you can attack as many times as fusion material used for it. So 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you really want has 2000 attack plus whatever Tiger gives it, whatever Sabertooth gives it, and it just works really well. The last 2 fusions we have in the deck is obviously Norden for your instant fusion plays to go into rank 4s, and then your Gem Knight, Seraphinite, which allows you to have that extra normal summon if you really need it. It pretty much just gets stuff gets Winks into grave. If you really want to use its effect to get the additional normal summon, you can normal dog and then normal owl, add polymerization, then go off if you really need to. I don't really see the need. The biggest thing is just getting your Winks in grave as soon as possible. And then moving on to the XCs, we are playing the best rank 4 XCs in the game, Castel, right now, as well as 1 Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is super good against Cosmo, super good against BA, PK Fire, anything along that sort, as well as Monarchs. Just there to stop their graveyard from going off. You don't want to worry about it when it's on your turn because you still want your sheep to go off, you still want your chain to go off, but you always want to use it on their turn. That way you don't have to worry about it. And then to get over Cosmos and anything else is pesky because sometimes it's really hard to get over them. You are playing the 1 rank 4 Utopia as well as the rank 5 Utopia the Lightning because it's just an amazing card and it stops your opponent in the tracks and does a lot of damage at the same time. So it just really works out. And then finally the last card we play in the main deck is, or the extra deck I should say, is Volcasaurus. I did have Drendel in here for the longest time, but then I kept running into problems where I really wanted to do damage. So I put Volcasaurus in here. And it's just been working out really well for me. I don't go into it as quite as often as I probably could, but I do think it just works out really well. But that is the entire deck, the main deck, extra deck. We don't play any traps. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them down below in the comment section. I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. Like always, please, if you enjoyed the video, give it 2 thumbs up because all your support is greatly appreciated. If you have enjoyed this video, if you have not seen any of my videos before, make sure to subscribe, show some support, share with your friends, all that good lovey-dovey bullshit. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Nate from the Scrub Academy, signing out for now. Peace out.